Oh,
We
God.
can talk about challenge ratings.
Sure.
You want to talk about challenge ratings?
Absolutely.
Let's talk
I think
about
you do.
the thing that no one has ever understood in the history of D&D.
Remember that giant ass table that they have that's like 200 cells or something like that to try to figure out what an appropriate CR is?
Are you a GM who enjoys giving your parties a challenge? Well, why not verify that by checking your challenge rating? At least in 2014, we had to like do some crazy math, like get all the monsters and then the number of people in the party and then divide it by the number of people in the party, but not in the middle because it was never that simple. And then I think we had to multiply by 2 or something to that effect.
Mhm.
They've introduced a budget. I'm not convinced it's going to work. They also reference challenge ratings deeper down in the manual if you take a look, which means that it's going to be in the monster manual. So I'm still not convinced how challenge ratings are going to be included, but basically they give you a budget. They say you have this many party members, you have this budget for your encounter, and then you subtract from budget with the ascribed XP values that are in the monster manuals attached to the monsters. So simpler. I like it. No multiplier for multiple monsters. They advised including some like trash in there that the party can easily destroy. I think we've been recommending that for a couple of years now. I don't know if you guys had any thoughts. I personally, I guess this isn't a hot take because everyone has been talking about it, but I don't use them.
I used to use challenge ratings. Like I wasn't like super like religious about hewing to them because I've talked many times how sort of my default is to let sort of the pacing determine how the battle flows and how, you know, successful or unsuccessful people should be fighting a thing. But I also admit that like running combat isn't my favorite thing, and I'm also not really great at it. So I'll own that. But anything that makes it simpler than that sort of bizarre hacked together system of figuring out CRs before, like I love the idea of a budget for it. I think that's fantastic. Josh is just like kettling over here, waiting to say something as a monster crafter. But if like, and I did not read this part of the DMG, but if like it actually uses the monster XP as a relevant part of this calculation, then that's good because like it seems like the wind for a good while now has been blowing toward milestone leveling. So it's good to have the XP still mean something in the stat block.
So here's my problem. My problem is they give you a very helpful, here's an XP budget for the party level, and then based on the kind of difficulty of the combat encounter you want to have, here's the XP value for what those creatures should look like. I think that's great. I think that's fine. I have no issues with that. They do not give any examples for how to calculate how much XP the monsters you build for yourself would have. There's not even a hint of an example for how to figure that out for yourself, which is exactly the problem we had with challenge ratings in the first place.
Surely,
I was about to say, like, if you create an ooze wraith, there's no additional like XP that you can add to that wraith's base XP to get it closer up to the ooze abilities that you just gave it. As an example.
Surely though, this will be addressed in the 2024 Monster Manual coming February 2025. Like, I mean, that has to be where they're putting all the monster building stuff, isn't it?
I would assume so, but you know what they say about me and assumptions. Makes an ass out of me and umptions.
I'm curious though. Are you guys milestone or XP based GMs?
I'm a milestone GM.
Same.
I'm exclusively milestone. I haven't run XP in a very long time because every time I suggested to a table that it was XP based, all of a sudden every combat encounter needs to end with death. Like all foes must die or we must die in their place. And I'm like, this isn't the game I want to run. I was like, what if I rewarded you for not fighting with XP? And they were like, interesting proposition, But then how do you calculate if we skip whole floors of monsters? Like, doesn't that cost something? Because we didn't learn anything by fighting those whole floors of monsters. And I'm like, yeah, but you took the opportunity to search for like the carefully laid clues and solve the mysterious puzzle to give you the shortcut down 2 floors. Shouldn't that be worth something? And they're like, no, I think we need to go back up. Having finished the dungeon boss, we now need to go back up the 2 floors we skipped and kill everything in those spaces.
Yeah. For players very dedicated to the essence of Dungeons and Dragons, which is the combat focused gameplay loop, milestone leveling, I think, is like organ transplant rejection from a body. Like it's just very difficult for them to not necessarily comprehend, but just accept that it's a thing. But I do milestone just because like I'm in this to tell stories and have experiences with people, not be an accountant.
Well, you heard it here first, XPGMs. If you want to really level up your game, add in player kill stealing.
What you really want to raise the stakes at your table is what's called a last hit mechanic, common in games like League of Legends. It's known for its community building abilities.